Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Photography Tips and Tricks, your show for gear tips, inspiration, anything you need to get your photography to the next level. My name is RC, and I wanted to answer a little bit of viewer mail this week. We had Shanna, who basically messaged us and said, "Hi there, I was wondering if you had a tutorial video on shooting portraits with people with fire." Okay, fire, dancers, eaters, using multiple speed lights. I've been looking around and haven't been able to find one, if you have one. If you don't, would you do a video or a tutorial on it? So Shanna, we have a bunch of different things that you can see over on Kelby One. Make sure that you take a look at Kelby One, but I don't want to leave you with that. I want to give you some actual tools. So this is what I want you to do. This doesn't have fire. We will cover fire in a second. Now, first thing, take your camera, right? Set your camera to whatever aperture you want, right? Set yourself up to aperture priority. Set your ISO to taste, right? So relatively low. I usually set it around 400. So 400 aperture, I'm gonna have, right now in this instance, I'm gonna use 9.5 for an aperture. So I'll go ahead and I'll go over to 9.5. Now, once I have that set, once you have that set, what I want you to do is I want you to take a picture of your overall environment. Now, what I want you to do first is I want you to gauge what the overall environment is gonna look like. Brighter, darker, brighter, darker. Then from there, I want you to use your exposure compensation. So take a look at this picture here, right? So what I did here is I took a picture of the environment using aperture priority. And as I looked at it, I was like, I want it darker. I want the color more saturated in the sky. I want the color more saturated in the sky. To do that, what I would do is I would go over here to aperture priority and I would just press this black and white button. Every camera has it. Has an exposure compensation button. It looks like a little plus and a minus. You press that down, and as you press that down, you can turn a rocker to go, I want to overexpose, I want to underexpose, underexpose, and I'm going to continue to underexpose until the picture that I take looks like this. Once you have that setting, in this case, I was metering it, and I'm looking at it, and once I got to this color that I was looking for, that's when I stopped. So I'm looking at it at a 1/25th of a second at f9.5. Once you do that, 1/25th of a second, f9.5, you know what I do? I switch from aperture priority to manual. Basically, you've been using your camera as a meter. So you switch it over to manual, you dial in 125, 9.5, you get it all set up. Now that's not gonna change. It's gonna look like this all the time. Once you do that, then you just add a little bit of light. Right? So we have a light that's just sitting high camera right? In this case, I was using a ProPhoto B1, but you could be using whatever light you want. You just introduce it. Now from there, just change your angle and you're done. So that deals with the concept of what you're doing with in terms of mixing your ambient and your strobe. Guess what? It's actually the same thing when you're doing fire, and I want to show you some fire stuff, but I want to stop right here. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure that you take a look at the entire episode over on the Kelby One side. We're going to talk a little bit about fire, and we're going to talk about how you can set yourself up for something like this, right? Maybe you don't even need flash at all. So make sure you take a look at this over at the Kelby One website. We'll see you guys over there in a little bit.